I'm Taryn. I am an abstract artist living in Silicon Valley, and I'm from Mexico City.
Hi there, and my name is Sieglinde. I'm a mostly abstract artist. I'm a European import into the US, and I also live in Silicon Valley. And it is our pleasure to welcome you to yet another episode of Art Sparks with Taryn and Sieglinde. Short burst of conversation about what else? Art. And what are we talking about today?
All right. Today we're going to talk about mediums.
Ooh, that's a good one, because last week we explained the hierarchy of mediums in the price structure. So tell us, what do you think about mediums?
Well, I try to think about a way that people can really understand a little bit better. So imagine, for example, that you can learn a language in a few months. And then you will be able to choose whatever language you want to use for depending on what you want to say. For example, you want to be romantic, you go and change to the French. So mediums, it could be like, it's like a language. It's a language that the artist is going to choose in order to be able to express what they want to say. So it'll be more clearly or more, it will be easier for the artist to do it. So that's why I think they choose different type of mediums. So what do you think? What do you think? Do you agree?
No, I agree. I agree that a medium is chosen depending on what you want to say, and that comparing the medium to a language that the artist chooses to speak as the first visual encounter with the work is actually a really beautiful analogy. So, Taryn, tell us about your medium, your chosen medium language, and how you work with it.
Okay, that's good. That's good that we're talking with artists, because that way you can go deep inside. Okay, why are we doing this? So, different from other artists, I'm very structured. All my life since I was really, really young. So don't say that it was like, yes, I'm structured in a way that I started drawing when I was really young. I was really young. And then I wouldn't get into color until I knew how to draw. And then I started learning different mediums, and I learned a lot of mediums, and I couldn't decide until I tried almost all of them, like a lot of them, because I felt like I was missing up. So that's why I'm very structured. And the medium that was structured was watercolor. So for me,
that is a lot of structure.
It is a lot, but it was for me. It was like 1 step, 2 step, 3 step, done. And I like the done part of it. It's like, okay, otherwise I would be painting for months and months and months. So I like the watercolor in that respect. That is done, and I like that one because it's a structure, and also it's unpredictable, and it moves. So it also is predictable, but it also can have a little surprises. So that's why I love watercolor, and I'm in love with it, and I will be in love with it for a long time. How about
Taryn? But then there is still a little bit of chaos in your structure.
Well, it has to have something.
There is room for something unpredictable, or at least, I always thought that, so I do not work in watercolor for the precise reason that all the structure and this planning is exactly where I want to get away from. So we're opposites, even though we're both abstract artists. This is so fun. And so, so I always thought that watercolor was really about structure and planning, and you know exactly what's coming next. But so then what I understand is that that's not the way you work with the watercolor.
Well, I like my structure very well. I like to plan like it's a bone structure. So then when I put my paint, it can be unpredictable, and then I have these surprises, and I have these things that could happen that is magical.
Yes.
So I can have a structure so they can have a little life. Chaos, that would be too far. Okay, that would be too far for me. But a little bit of surprises and a little bit of unpredictability, that I can work with. Yeah. And how about you?
Okay, so surprises, yes, and I kind of like chaos and what is born from it. So for me, it's interesting that you say that you jumped around through all these different media and you couldn't choose. And for me, I feel like I still need to work in various media on a consistent basis, because I really choose it for what I want to say, what I want to tell. And depending on what I want to say, I need something else to express it. So that language analogy that you explained earlier was just spot on for me. And so I started out as a painter, but then when I went to grad school, I focused on, believe it or not, on photography and video. But what I did was so my concept behind my work is all about inspiring people, and to show them that there's always another solution, another choice, another possibility. And photography at the time was the easiest way for me to do that, because I wasn't using the latest digital camera, making a true to life photograph. I would like layer photographs and then push and pull the different layers to see which one was more obvious than another one. And it's sort of, to me, reflect the mystery of life, and the perspective. There's always another perspective. There's always another avenue. And the same in my videos. Actually, I started doing it in video because it was easier in video. And then I started doing it in still photography as well. And then taking things out of context and to create a new reality there, right? And so then I came back to painting, and now it's very process oriented. When you work with video or photography, you already see that I'm twisting reality around a little bit. So then how do I do that in painting, especially going abstract, right? And then there's this same mystery about life that I'm trying to communicate. So then it becomes very much a process, also mimicking life as the way we process life and the way we process our situations. I think this whole pandemic sort of scooped me into that direction, because on a daily basis, there was so much to process, right? And so then it becomes a lot of, just like in the photography or the video layers, it becomes about lots of layers in the painting, and using white to block things out. And then there's text underneath. So I even mix other media into it. And it's all like, what are the hidden stories? What are the possibilities that we're not seeing? What are the trajectories that we haven't discovered yet? So for me, in whatever medium I choose, it just depends on, I guess it kind of depends also what I'm going through in my daily life. But it's all about inspiring people to see beyond the obvious, which is why I would never make a flat, colorful painting, because then there's just that, right? Mm-hmm. So it's really about engaging in like, what else is there? What else is possible? And that's how I choose the mediums to say that story.
So I like how you manage it and how you put it all together, and also get me to a point like, you're right. Well, maybe because I'm into really structure, but a lot of artists, they change mediums depending on what is it they want to say, yes, and they will use different type as well. But it also be good, I think, to say what mediums are we talking about. So, for example,
right,
yes, we keep the whole medium. Okay, we have oil, we have acrylic, we have pastel, we have oil pastel, we have collage, we have wash, charcoal, ink.
Okay, so I sometimes use all of them in the same painting. The trick is, of course, to know your mediums and your techniques really well. Like, you always have to go fat over lean. Like you can start with a charcoal drawing and collage, and you can put acrylic on top and even some pastel. But once you add oil, you cannot go back to acrylic or anything else. So oil will always be the last layer because it's the fattiest, and whatever you put on top of the oil will not stick. And so when I build up these layers, I often start with just a drawing, you know, or I will put text down, or image transfer where I layer the text and I paper off, and only ink remains. Great, you know, mysterious texture underneath it, and it shows up here and there. You can use anything before you use the oil. I also use ink sometimes, and then I put gesso, which is the white base, over it, and then I create this very mysterious purple that I can then just use. And as you can tell, I'm not much of a structured planner. It really depends on my mood of the day, and I like the chaos to just envelope and tell me where I need to go next, which again for me is teaching myself to not try to control life, but go with the flow of life. So I guess my artwork is my safe practice ground, where I just like whatever is near my hand that I can see in this painting, I use.
But, so you're multi-language person.
Well,
but the thing is, what people wanted to understand is like, yes, it depends on each one of us how you want to express. So when you went to a museum or went to a gallery, try to figure out like, oh, is it acrylic? Is it a pastel? Why do you think they choose it? Is it thick? Is it thin? No, to be able to understand also why the artists choose that medium. For you would be like, yeah.
Well, we don't always know, right? We even from other artists that we know, we don't always know why they choose a particular medium, except that we understand that that's the medium they choose to explain, or to explain what they want to say, even if it's just that day, that month, that year. And I guess multilinguist, I think they also just call it mixed media. I'm not a purist.
Exactly.
For sure.
Okay, we forgot that one. Okay. Yes, we combine several. It's called multimedia. Okay. Yes, I sometimes use watercolor and pastel too. So
I hope we cleared up a little bit on choosing mediums. What are we going to talk about next week, Taryn? Have we decided already, or is it going to be a surprise?
How about a surprise?
Okay, how about a surprise? All right, then this is it for us today. This was a nice and short one, as we promised, about mediums and why artists choose specific mediums to work with. Please like, subscribe, and share this video with anybody who you think would benefit from this information. And also ask us a question in the comments below. What do you have a question about what we talked about today? Or what was your main takeaway? Or what question would you like us to address in an upcoming episode? Thank you so much.
If we miss something, let us know. Right?
Yes, exactly. We're here to share with you, but it would be awesome if you participate with us and we can make this channel together. Thank you so much. See you next week. Bye.